You told yourself 1 minute, just one. You picked up the phone in the dark, and the phone, being a phone, had other plans. The screen lit your face like a tiny cold moon. Then the ceiling turned gray. Then a bird started its stupid little song. And now, here you are at dawn, awake, hollow, feeling like a dumpling someone left boiling too long. Your eyes hurt. Your soul has a slight rattle. And here's the thing that should keep you up at night, except you're already up. Your ancestors also stayed awake in the dark, for a very long time. Not scrolling, not doom reading. They stayed awake at night for a genuinely excellent reason. The reason was not getting eaten, which you'll admit beats losing an argument in a comment section. For almost all of human history, night was not a time of day. It was a mode, a state you survived. When the sun went down, the world you knew closed like a door, and a different world opened, one that did not want you in it. And you have to understand how dark that dark actually was. No streetlight leaking through the blinds, no little green dot glowing on a router, no phone face down, still breathing light into the room like a tiny disappointed moon. That's not dark, that's a spa. When the fire sank low and the moon hid, the darkness was total. You could lift your own hand in front of your face and it would simply be gone. Not shadowed, gone, swallowed whole. That's the night our species learned to sleep inside. And here's the humbling part. In that dark, we are useless. Genuinely, embarrassingly useless. Our night vision is a rumor. We can't smell a predator drifting upwind the way a wolf can. We can't hear a paw settle in the grass like an owl can. We can't sprint in the black. We can't climb fast, and our claws are, generously, fingernails. Our entire toolkit for the night is an empty folder on the desktop, and the only file in it is labeled "Sometimes Throws a Rock." That's the kit. Meanwhile, the dark belonged to professionals. Big cats with eyes like headlights, hyenas that laugh, which is worse, wolves, bears, a snake exactly where your foot wants to go, and, cheerfully, other humans, other bands, who'd also learned the dark is where you take what you want. So the first rule of the night wrote itself, and it's the opposite of everything a mattress commercial has ever told you. Nobody sleeps alone, and nobody sleeps just anywhere. They slept pressed together, a knot of warm bodies, children folded into the middle, elders and hunters on the edges. Not because it was romantic, because a pile of people is a machine that never fully switches off. And here's the quiet genius, and it's subtler than it sounds. People drift off and wake at different times, mostly by age. The old sleep light and early, the young sleep late. So across one camp, the coverage is staggered. Somebody is nearly always up, or nearly up, one ear open. A living alarm system built out of breathing. To sleep in a heap wasn't weakness. It was the smartest thing a soft, slow animal ever did. And then the hero arrives. Fire. Try, for a second, to imagine what fire actually meant. And remember, we've had it for a very long time. Hundreds of thousands of years. It's warmth when the ground is trying to steal your heat all night. It's light punched into a world that had none. It's cooked food, which may have quietly reshaped our whole digestion. And it's a wall, a low orange wall of please don't, because most things with teeth want nothing to do with a flame. Fire drew a glowing border around the tiny human world and held the enormous dark just outside it. The first lamp, the first kitchen, the first television, the first security system, all crackling in one place. And be honest, drop a person in front of a fire even now and they go quiet and soft and can't look away. Some part of us is still on watch. Now, what did people do in that ring of light? They talked. But calling it entertainment misses the whole point. Those stories were the memory of the entire group, running on the only hardware available. Someone talking, everyone listening, where the water turns bad in the dry season. Which bright, friendly berry stops a heart by morning. Which valley you walk into and never walk out of because the people there eat guests. But nobody remembers a bullet-pointed safety list, so the rules were dressed as stories. The one about the cousin who laughed at every warning, went to the river alone, and was, later, identified by a single sandal. Gripping, a little cruel, impossible to forget. And here you are, thousands of years later, curled up in the dark in front of a glowing rectangle, letting someone tell you a story. Old habit, same fire. Here's where the cartoon caveman falls apart. The slope-browed brute who flops face down onto the nearest rock and starts snoring. That's not what the ground remembers. When archaeologists dig into old sleeping places, they find beds. Actual beds, built with care. At Border Cave in South Africa, there's grass bedding roughly 200,000 years old, laid down in layers, sometimes over a bed of ash. And that ash is cleverer than it sounds. We'll get to it. Bedding that lifts you off the cold ground, because the earth steals your heat all night and gives none of it back. This wasn't a dim animal collapsing wherever gravity left him. This was a person kneeling in the last light, checking the wind, choosing the spot, building the layers, quietly engineering a good night's sleep with their hands. And the thing that ruined those nights was almost never the lion. The lion is dramatic but rare, and the fire mostly kept the lion honest. The real, relentless, every single night enemy was small. The mosquito whining its thin needle song by your ear. The flea, the tick burrowing in. The parasite you couldn't see and couldn't fight, that doesn't kill you in one heroic moment but drains and fevers you slowly. So that layer of ash under the bedding wasn't decoration. Ash repels the crawling things, drinks up the damp, blocks the cold. At another site, Sibadu, they tucked in aromatic, insect-repelling leaves on purpose. And when a bed got too full of small life to save, at Border Cave they burned it and built a clean one. The world's first mattress replacement policy. Wildly effective, zero paperwork. Now, the 8 hours straight thing you feel guilty about. First of all, 8 solid hours may never have been the natural baseline at all. Groups living closest to the old way, out near the equator, tend to average somewhere around 6 or 7 hours of actual sleep. And there's a lovely idea that people slept in 2 shifts, a first sleep after dark, then a natural waking in the deep middle of the night to feed the fire and murmur and check the kids, then a second sleep till dawn. That 2-shift pattern is genuinely documented, but for early modern Europe, not the deep past. Studies of living hunter-gatherers actually find 1 consolidated sleep, so treat it as maybe, not gospel. Still, that strange, clear-headed 3 a.m. feeling, where the world goes quiet and your mind switches on. Maybe an old room in you, lighting up. Let's not turn it into a postcard, though. It was hard. It was cold in a way that gets into the joints and stays. There was fear, real fear, the kind with actual teeth attached, the kind that tightens the whole body at a sound you can't name. Backs ached. Smoke found your eyes no matter where you turned. Children cried, because children have always cried, and there was nowhere else to take them. So no, it wasn't some clean, noble idyll, but it wasn't empty either. They genuinely lived at night by a different set of rules. Firelight instead of blue light. The cold air and the first birds instead of an alarm you snooze 4 times. Real rain on real leaves. Real wind in the trees, instead of a recording of a rainstorm that never actually happened. It was rough, but it was real. And here's the joke the universe is telling on us. We have, by an enormous margin, the safest night in the entire history of our species. Solid walls, a locked door, heat on a dial, a mattress engineered by people with degrees. Nothing out there wants to eat us, and we lie awake anyway, because the brain, handed total safety, looks around, sees no lions, and decides that 2 in the morning is the ideal moment to review, in high definition, every embarrassing thing you've done since roughly the 6th grade. And the one tool we reach for to escape all that? Its blue light walks straight into an ancient part of the brain, quietly suppresses the melatonin, and whispers, calmly, "The sun is still up. Stay awake. It's not time." So you lie there, perfectly safe, being lied to by a small rectangle. And there's one more thing we've quietly changed, and the old brain has notes. We sleep alone. Far, far more alone than our kind was ever built to sleep. For most of our history, to sleep by yourself in the dark meant something had gone terribly wrong. You'd been left, or lost, or cast out. So maybe, and this is a guess, not a proven fact, that's why rain sounds pour you into sleep like a drug. Why a crackling fire loosens your shoulders. Why wind and leaves and distant water switch you off in minutes. Perhaps those are old buttons, the sounds of a safe camp and a tended fire, and nobody ever uninstalled them. Perhaps they're just sitting there in the dark, still wired in, waiting to be pressed. And then, under all of it, the dreams. To us, a dream is mostly a low-budget film with no script, questionable casting, and a plot that evaporates the second you reach for it. You had one about your old school and a horse. Anyway, but to people living that ancient night, a dream may have been something else entirely. A message. The dead coming back to speak. A spirit leaning close with a warning. A sign, clear as a footprint, that you should not go down to the river tomorrow, no matter what your cousin says. Now, we can't prove any of that from the archaeology. But among living and recent peoples, that's exactly how dreams get treated, carried into the day, shaping where you hunt, who you trust, what you fear. The night kept talking even in sleep, and they listened. So here's what I want you to take from all this. They were not savages cowering from the dark, waiting for a smarter age to invent the light bulb and save them. They did something braver and stranger. They learned to live in the night. They caught fire and tamed it. They built soft beds in a hard world. They turned raw fear into ritual and turned blind darkness into the hour when the best stories got told. Their night was dangerous and cold and completely, unmistakably real. And us, we very nearly conquered ours. We flooded it with light and locked every door, and somewhere along the way we quietly lost our respect for it. So the next time you jolt awake at 3 in the morning, do me one favor. Don't grab the phone. That's just the old human in you surfacing to listen, checking, the way your ancestors always did, that everyone you love is still breathing. Then go back to